Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to our September 5th regular meeting, 2023. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome Miss Andrea Thomas.
Tribes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say doth that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the brave.
Dr. Crystal Waterman.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Trustee Mitchell. Trustee Middleton. Trustee Njenga.
Here.
Trustee Gale.
Here.
Trustee Lency. Trustee White. Trustee Saunders. VP Kelly. President Kerwin.
Here.
We have our quorum. And Student Trustee De Leon. Okay. We have our quorum. There is no legal requirement to recognize public comment at meetings of the Board of Education. However, the board recognizes the critical importance of community discourse and involvement in the education of Mount Vernon's children, and accordingly, members of the public are invited to speak at each regularly scheduled board meeting, subject to the terms of the board policy. Please state your name, address, and the organization, if any, you represent. A speaker must register in advance by no later than 4 p.m. the day of the meeting by contacting the district clerk in person at 165 North Columbus Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, by phone at 914-665-5235, or by email. The board welcomes all respectful comments, whether praise or criticism. However, identifying and criticizing a specific student, parent, teacher, administrator, other Mount Vernon education official, or employee is strictly prohibited. Any such complaint must be presented and addressed through the proper administrative channels. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Up to 1 additional minute may be used for the speaker to summarize and conclude their remarks. If appropriate, board trustees and/or the superintendent or other staff members at the direction of the superintendent may immediately respond to a speaker's remarks. Our first speaker tonight is Mr. Tom Keller.
I wonder if I'll be able to speak tonight. I see Ray Copeland's not here. Last time I was here, he rudely interrupted me. I only got like 2 minutes. Thanks for not coming tonight, Ray. Anyway, Thomas Keller, 12 Pasadena Place, MV 10552. I'm representing myself, even though I'm chair of the Republican Party in Mount Vernon, but I'm representing myself as a community activist, I guess. So I see on the agenda tonight, this afternoon, this morning, pre-K3, pre-K4, OLV and friendship. Why don't we table this? Are there any bids for this? Plus, we have excess capacity in the system. You know, the 29 people at the high school last year, they're getting moved to one of the Turners for the whole building. What about all the infrastructure at the high school that had pre-K 3 or 4? Is that being used? And there's 2 schools in this district that should be shut down to save money. One of them, anyway. I think you probably all know which one I'm talking about. And something else. There's a person affiliated with Friendship who in the past was always brown-nosing the board and the superintendent, Hamilton, so he would get the contract. And oftentimes, he would support people that I was not supporting. The conservative group that I'm part of. The last year or two, he hasn't done that. And I guess last year he supported, I don't know who he supported, but he didn't support the other side. Mount Vernon Forward or Drive for 5, whatever the group is. Anyway, he's had a checkered history too. The great Leslie Zamora, former chair, was supposed to be getting into a fight with another black minister out there, and he didn't do anything about it. He was head of the United Black Clergy. We should look at this pre-K 3 and 4 for OLV as well as friendship. Also, I looked on the website. We have a calendar. I told you people last year, it's not Indigenous Peoples Day. That's a bumper sticker. It's Columbus Day. Somebody said, well, we get this information from the state or we get it from BOCES or whatever. New York City gives Chinese New Year off. Do they have to get permission from BOCES to do this? It's Columbus Day. Redo the calendar. Send them out and redo it with Columbus Day.
Mr. Keller, you're actually offending me right now.
Oh, yeah? Too bad. I'll talk to you afterwards, okay? You can respond to what I say. Now, NYSUT, New York State Teachers United. Not in the last year or two, but in the past, they've supported trustees, again, like the friendship person, who were against the people I was supporting. Back a number of years ago, the late, great Bill Martimucci told me 70% of the teachers do not live in Mount Vernon. So you have a group, NYSUT, where 70% of the membership doesn't live in Mount Vernon, and they're trying to dictate who's elected as a trustee. This upcoming contract, if it hasn't been done yet, we put in the contract, no mailings, financial beneficiaries, telephone banks can be used by NICET or any other union that we have a collective bargaining agreement with. Individually, yeah, D'Amato there, she was a former chair. She lived up county someplace. If she individually wants to support somebody, fine. And Jeff Yonkers, because he lived in Mount Vernon. But this is ridiculous. And staffing, we're trying to keep overhead down. I looked, there's 14 non-union people as far as staff. Last year was 12. What else? Oh, contracts. Tom, you're our attorney here. Back last year, it was an offer made to a lady. It was a Mancini or Narini or something like that. And I looked at the contract. You would think that her lawyer drew up the contract. It was so favorable to the individual and not favorable to the school district. And I understand our attorneys drew up the contract. Who are they representing? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jerry Lorday.
Good evening, everyone. I want to say good evening to the board, to our superintendent, Dr. Smith. You know I love you. I can't think of your name, Ms. Dr. Jones, and our board president, and of course, all the members. I'm here to talk about something that is always on my mind, and that's parent involvement. It is such an important thing in our district. And I had the pleasure and the honor to meet with Dr. Smith and Dr. Jones this summer. And one of the things that we have been lax in doing is bringing Parent Involvement Day to the forefront in the beginning. So here's your first notice that Parent Involvement Day is the second Monday in February. And that date is February 12th, 2024. We have a new group of, well, not all of them are new, but we have a new group of parent liaisons. We're beginning with the ends in mind. This is something that's celebrated nowhere else but in Mount Vernon. It started in Michigan with Dr. Joe Doolin. We had the pleasure and the honor of having him here. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Jerry Lorday, and I'm the president of the Mount Vernon Parent and Community Forum on Education. This was introduced to us by Dr. Spruill. He brought it to a group of women, and Mr. May and Mr. Jarvis, they were invited by Joan Horton and Petra Basket. You say, why is that important? We know that when parents are involved in their children's education, they are more successful. And so I want you to mark your calendars. I want you to put it down. I want you to tell the neighborhood. I want you to tell auntie, uncle, and everybody else to come, because it's a positive thing for our district. It's a positive thing for our children. And no matter what grade level your children are on, they want their parents to come to school and meet their teacher and have a positive experience. One of the things that I've read a book by Lee Cantor, Parents, I forgot on it, no, or something like that, but he said parents need to have a positive experience in the beginning of the school year. And Mount Vernon always did that. I stole that and brought it back to my school, which is back to school night, because it gives the parents an opportunity to hear what's going on in their children's classrooms. A lot of our parents have felt disenfranchised, and we don't want that to continue to happen. So I thank you again, Dr. Smith, Dr. Jones, and the board for all that you're doing to make Mount Vernon move in the right direction for our children. And I think that I want to just say this last thing. I hope that I did this well, and that is the tone in which we speak to one another. There has to be a different way of speaking. Get your point across, but don't be antagonistic. I want to be different. I know I'm not perfect. So if I mess up and I go off, because I can, but I want to represent well, because I want my children to be able to follow my example. We are trying to teach our children to de-escalate. We're trying to teach our children to handle matters in a better way. And we must be respectful to one another. Thank you again for allowing me to share. It's my pleasure. And have a good night.
Thank you. And that's it for public comments tonight. Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Andrea Thomas and Dr. Crystal Waterman, for your rendition. They sang for us earlier this morning and did an amazing job, and we wanted them to come back to set the tone for our school year. For my superintendent report, I want to thank Noel Campbell and the Human Resource Department for coordinating a comprehensive and well-organized new staff orientation. The Human Resource Department has done an amazing job onboarding new staff this year. Thank you for that. Today's convocation was very well received. There were presentations from 3 union presidents, Dr. Crystal Waterman, Mount Vernon Administrative Group, Mr. Keith McCall, Mount Vernon Federation of Teachers, and Mr. Terrence Burns, CSEA. President Kerwin gave a heartfelt welcome. Ms. Patrice Wallace-Moore was very inspirational, and I welcome all new staff and all staff to get on the bus with us because we're going back to basics. It was a great start to our new year. Thank you to everyone who has expressed their concerns regarding literacy. As you know, reading, arithmetic, and writing is our focus. At a recent meeting with Commissioner Betty Rosa and her cabinet, literacy was a major focus. Districts throughout the nation have been revisiting their reading practice. New York State will be providing guidance on literacy shortly. According to Commissioner Rosa, the guidance from the state will focus on teaching students to read. She indicated that 5 key principles have been identified by the National Reading Panel. They are as follows: phonological awareness, being able to identify sounds, phonics, making sounds with the letters that represent sounds, fluency, reading that connects text with accuracy, vocabulary, knowing what words mean, comprehension, understanding the meaning of text. New York State has also added a 6th key principle, which is oral language, which includes effective reading and writing, speaking and writing. New York State's plan to address current literacy needs, they said the following: New York State is developing a statewide P20 strategic literacy initiative. The literacy initiative will include guidance on the science of reading and how this applies to teacher training, including pre-service teachers. This strategic approach will span from early childhood to teacher preparation and include stakeholders in the field such as BOCES staff and Curriculum Development Network and the Big Five. After school. The district will roll out their after-school program this October, which will consist of various clubs. Such clubs fall under 3 major categories: physical activities, which would have clubs such as basketball, dance, that's African, ballet, step, hip-hop, soccer, swimming, martial arts, volleyball, double dutch. Intellectual activities, robotics, Legos and kinetics, money matters, that's financial literacy, debate club, chess club, travel club, math club, book club. And the 3rd category is social recreational activities. My Brother's Keeper, Girls Empowerment Club, Culture Club, esports, gaming, cooking, arts and craft, Dungeons and Dragons, and a DJ club. We look forward to having this initiative. I do know that President Kerwin has spearheaded this charge along with Dr. Beverly Jones, and there's a committee that we've been working with. Dr. Dorgan, I believe, is also a part of that committee. Oh, and Miss Green, and she's here this evening, and Dr. Pierce. Thank you all for your input, and we look forward to having the after-school program that will run Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Oh, she wanted me to tell everyone, and it's free to the parents. So that'll be Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and it's free. Tonight, we will have 3 reports, which includes presentations under the superintendent report. I would like to call up first Synergistics. They are energy savings presentation.
Good evening, Dr. Smith, leadership team, and board. My name is Mary Ellen Leader. I'm with Synergistic. I'm a local Westchester resident. This is my colleague Jack Bullock. He's our chief engineer and senior vice president of the company. We're here to talk to you today about a self-funded program that we are working with a number of school districts and universities in the area. We've had multiple meetings with Dr. Smith and the leadership team, and we think that we can provide some great savings to you within the district through this self-funded program. If I can get my slides here. So our program works with the equipment that you have in the district right now. We're not selling any equipment. We work with what you have in the district, and we optimize that equipment so that it's used to the best of its ability, and it also extends the life of the equipment in the process. We eliminate excess energy use. So right now the district is spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million a year on energy costs, and that is what we're going to look to reduce by reducing the amount of energy that's being used and the amount of money that you're paying out to the utility companies. We come to you with over 37 years of experience in this field. There's lots of numbers up there on the board, but what I like to focus on is the staff that we bring to the district. We will hire an energy specialist who is our employee but is dedicated to the staff or to the district here. They'll work with your staff. You will help us identify the right person who's going to be working hand in hand with your team. We bring technology that's going to help you make data-driven decisions, give you the analytics to help drive decisions on how to better operate your facilities, and if there were to be an opportunity to purchase new equipment because you've got some funding for that, we can be a vendor-neutral resource to help guide that decision using the data and the analytics that we provide. We also bring to bear consultants and engineers who come in on a rotating basis, pretty much on demand as needed within the district, and they will work on your equipment, as I said, to optimize it. They'll also do training with the staff members here so that you're building the institutional knowledge of the custodial staff and the HVAC folks and folks who are working within here. Our priority is always the comfort of the learning environment for the best experience for the teachers, the students, and the staff. So that is always our focus, is to maintain the comfort of the learning environment. The energy specialists will spend most of their time, or the majority of their time, during off hours. So when the schools are unoccupied, nights, weekends, and breaks, that's where we have the best opportunity to deliver the energy savings and, again, protecting the learning environment. We take a very holistic approach. We're going to be looking mainly at electricity and oil, which are the two big areas, but we're looking at the whole district, all of your buildings, and we know that there are some buildings that currently operate better than others. There's lots of challenges. We see that with most of our clients. There's going to be a broad array of challenges that we face, and we bring in the staff to help address all of that. The technology that I mentioned is really what sets us apart and what makes us unique, in combination with the energy specialist and the consultants who come in. Again, it gives you those data-driven insights to make decisions. And we've talked in depth with the team, with the leadership team about the technology. We can certainly answer any questions along those lines. But again, the energy specialist is going to be doing audits throughout the buildings. It's an extra set of boots on the ground. They're going to be handling comfort complaints, getting to the root of those complaints. So it's not just enough to know that, the cold complaint in the library was fixed, but why is it happening, and really digging into it so that it's a better experience for everybody going forward. So our proposal includes an approximation in savings of almost $2.6 million over 5 years. Again, it's a self-funded program, so it's coming out of the money that would be being paid to the utility companies. The program investment line that you see there is a fixed fee. We tend to go conservative on our estimate of what the district will save because we want to overperform for you. Our fee doesn't change. So anything over and above that we can deliver to you in terms of the net savings is all goes straight into back into the district for use as you see fit. So our goal will be to exceed that number, but we do guarantee that the program investment is funded by the reduction in your energy use, and that's in our contract, and it is a guarantee that we stand by. So if you think of it as the break-even point where you just cover your expenses and you break even, you still had the benefit of the energy specialists, the consultants who are coming through, and the technology which gives you those analytics. This is just a quick overview on the way we structure it. You'd have a client manager who's dedicated to the team or to the district. They would manage the energy specialist. They would coordinate the visits of the engineers and technicians. We're bringing in, whatever specialists are needed as often as they are needed. And then just to summarize, it is guaranteed to be self-funding. It's over a 5-year term. We welcome the opportunity to do the training of your district staff. We would also bring staff to our headquarters for additional training, and we welcome the opportunity to do board updates on a regular basis so that you can see the results of the program, we can answer any questions, and we can walk through the progress that the program has made, and if there's any areas that you want to redirect us. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any from the team here.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Next, I would like Dr. Beverly Jones and Dr. Doggett. They will be presenting Back to Basics, Making Learning Fun, the mission, vision, goals, and core values.
Take this up to my height. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. President Curran, VP Kelly, trustees, Dr. K. Veronica Smith, Mount Vernon community, my colleagues at this table. My task tonight is to walk you through the 2023-2024 goals, vision, mission, and core values. So while we wait for my slides to come up, just want to give you a little background as to how these were created. So on the 27th and the 28th of June, the administrative staff met in a retreat. And so this is inclusive. This is very inclusive. We had all principals, assistant principals, central office staff, and we met together in a retreat. That one is not mine. Next one. Okay, so I just want to share with you, the task I'm given tonight is to share with you our goals, our mission, our vision, and our core value. Okay, so, do I have access to this? think I'm good. Okay. So as I mentioned before, these are the 2022-2023 mission, vision, goals, and core values. And all the assistant principals and principals and directors and everybody in this room, they were a part of this. So one thing we can say is that these were inclusive decisions, and if they don't like them, we get to remind them that they created them. Okay? So I throw this in there because I believe that this is representing us well this year. Together we're stronger. Even though you don't see the roots, we're working together behind the scene to give us a better result than we've had before. Okay. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Beverly Jones. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Curriculum and Instruction and School Improvement. And I got it right this time, Dr. Smith. Now, for those of you who knows me, board members, you have a piece of paper and a pen in front of you. It was not to take notes anywhere else. But for those of you who knows me, a presentation is not a presentation unless we get the audience working and the board members working. So you want to take a look at my screen right now and give me the answer to the question that's right there. And this is everybody in the room. This is the teacher in me. You got to leave this board meeting learning something. What's the answer? What do I put right there at the red question mark? And you have only a minute and a half to get the answer. And I mean everybody. All right, so I heard some answers. Are we ready? All right, who's ready with an answer? All right, Trustee Gale is ready. He's getting ready to save the board. All right, what's the answer? Anybody else? In the audience, I heard 33, 26, 14. Anybody else? There is a message behind this, so please try. 14, 36. Still have not heard the answer yet. Anyone else? Come on, quickly. I have another presentation coming after me. No, it's not 33 either. 54? No. I'm kind of disappointed because did I tell my principals not to give it away? Okay. All right. So I'm going to take the last round of answers. Yes. 51 is a no. 17 is a no. 26 is a no. And Trustee Kelly, I heard you with your hands up. You have the answer? 19? 90? Okay. 78 is a no. All right, so you can stop guessing answers now. And let me just, come on. All right, the purpose of this is to remind you that you need to pay attention to details. All right, so now you didn't get the answer, so at this time I need you to stop guessing and let's walk through this together. What is wrong with the audience? I said to stop guessing. Okay, so let's do the first line up here. We have 3 guys up here and they're equal to 15. What's the value of one guy? 5. Yay, you got that one right. One guy is 5. Let's look at the next row. I don't know why I can't have my thing up there. We have 3 masks in there, and they're all equal to 9. What's the value of one mask? 3. Yay! 2 rows, you're on point. Now let's move a little bit down to row number 3. All equal to 18. 6. All right. All right, now, the problem you're having is at the bottom row. So bear with me and pay attention. My little thing here is not getting. So let's look at the first. All right, guys, are you ready? Let's look at the first diagram. What do you think the value of the first diagram is? 12? Says who? Now let me have one of our board member explain to me why you got 12, Mr. Mitchell. So I guess this message is for you as well. The message is, pay attention to details. In the dumbbells, in the row number 3, the dumbbells had 6 rings on them. In the 4th row, they each have 2. So what's the value of the dumbbells? 8. There are 2 of them. They each have 4. 8 times 2 is 4. Pay attention to details. Now let's go talk about the diagram in the middle. So the diagram in the middle, what's the value of the diagram in the middle? 11. How did we get 11? He has a dumbbell in his hand, which is 6 or 4? 4. And we know he was 5 before. So 5 and 4 is 9. Are we done with him? He has a mask on. So that is 3 more. Pay attention to details. So with all of that, the answer is 44. And again, it's math. It's order of operation.
Is that math?
We are going to multiply before we add. And that's how we get that. So moving right along. Pay attention to details. That's what we're about this year. We're paying attention to our scholars. We're paying attention to their needs. We're paying attention to their last level of success. And we're going back to basics. We're going back to where they experienced success last, and then we are supporting them and moving them forward. So we're done with that one. All right, so let's look at our mission for this year. Now, our mission is what we do. Our mission is why we do what we do. Our mission is how we are going to do what we do. And when we put all of that together, what is it? What is our missions going to cause to happen in our district? And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the 2023-2024 mission. Here's our mission for the year. I shall not read that to you because you can do that for yourself. All right, the PowerPoints will be available should you ask for them to be sent to you. Somebody said they can't see it. Somebody needs glasses. All right, Dr. Gaviton, can you read it for those people in the back who can't see it? Can somebody give her a mic, please? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gaviton. And this was put together, and some of them are represented here, our administrative staff and our central office team. So that's our mission. But if we have a mission, what else do you know that we have as well? Thank you. We do have a vision. Now, let's get into a vision. Now, our vision is what we hope to be by doing our mission. Again, ladies and gentlemen, here is the 2023-2024 Mount Vernon City School District vision. Can you see this one, or do I have to ask Dr. Gaviton to read it again? Audience, are you good? Okay. Take a moment and chew on it. After this, and if there are no other feedback, Dr. Smith will put it on the website, so it will be seen It will be there at your disposal for whenever you want to take a look, to hold us accountable, that we promised we would. All right. Okay. So moving right along. Are we good, everybody? Okay. So now what comes next? Our goals. And we have some of those. Now the goals are those tangible outcomes that will let us know that we're fulfilling our mission. We have two sets of them. We deliberately, or they deliberately, or we deliberately separated them. We look at our academic goals. And I'm not sure if you can see this one. So Dr. Gabiton, you may have to read the academic goals again for me.
Human resource operation and accountability, pupil personnel services, and school improvement. Create and communicate unified procedures, protocol, and practices throughout all facets of the school district. Improve communication between central office leadership and building level leadership. Obtain additional funding for district programs.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gabiton. And these are the goals that will lead us throughout this school year. And as I mentioned before, everyone is asked to take a picture, print a copy, so you're constantly reminded of what we are proposing to do this school year. And there is one last part, and this is like my favorite part, and that is our core values. What is it that we believe about our children, our most prized possessions? So, these are what we are hoping will unite us. We believe in our teachers, we believe in our students, we believe in our administrators, we believe in everyone who will touch our scholars directly or indirectly. And these are, ladies and gentlemen, these are our core values. Again, they're kind of tiny, so Dr. Gabiton, grant us the honor of reading these for us. And like I said, these are my favorite ones because this is directly pertaining to the reasons why we're here. Students, scholars. Go ahead, Dr. Gabiton.
All scholars can learn. Scholars learn in different ways and different paces. Scholars should be challenged to be lifelong learners. The key aspect of education is developing a well-rounded scholar who think creatively and critically to make informed decisions and solve problems. Education enables individuals to be responsible, self-disciplined members of society. Cultural diversity enrich the educational experience for our scholars. A safe and caring environment is important to scholars and staff. Education is collaborative partnership with the Board of Education, staff, scholars, family, and resources in the community.
So I'm presenting these tonight to share. I'm sharing them with you tonight because these are the things that we plan to live by. So it will, at Dr. Smith's directive, be placed on the website, and they will be there for everyone to read, unless there is a correction. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
All right, can you pull the next part of the presentation up? This is part B of the presentation from Dr. Jones, and I have the privilege, good evening everyone, President Kerwin, Vice President Kelly, Superintendent, board members, cabinet, and members of the community. I'm going to present our curriculum and instruction back to basics overview and how we're going to make learning fun. And this is not the presentation, this is the second presentation I have to do tonight. So if you can pull that one up. Thank you. Okay, I will have the honor and privilege to introduce our curriculum and instruction team. Myself, Dr. Jones, Dr. Satish Jagnandan, Dr. Sorcello, Dr. Gail White-Wallace, who's here, Dr. Lisa Mazon, our new our PE director, Miss Mary Beth Rose, and Miss Brian Simmons. So we're going to begin with math, and I'm going to summarize the slides because it's about 32 slides, so I'm going to summarize a lot of the slides. And as you said, our mathematical goal is to pay attention to detail, as Dr. Jones said, and this is pretty much what our mathematical goal is. So our math instruction. This thing die out on me? You know, you have the AC on in the house and it's hot and you can't get it on. Oh. Yes. There we go. Yes, so our instructional theme for math. Math must be balanced. We must have a conceptual understanding, a procedural fluency, and modeling application. So therefore, our instructional theme for math this year is very simple. Build it, draw it, and write it. We're going to spend a lot of time building, playing with manipulatives, and you'll see more of that in the second presentation that we're going to talk about. So, the build it, that's the concrete. The manipulatives, the hands-on pieces in math that we need. The pictorial, to draw pictures and to use diagrams. And the abstract is the actual formulas that we use. We don't want to start with the formulas. We want to start with the concrete first. There's going to be a strong emphasis on the concrete, which is using manipulatives for the 2023-2024 school year. And here again, it's just a multiple representations of the strategy build it and draw it. As you can see, multiple representations. Students will be seeing this in their curriculum this year. In addition to that, we want students to write across all content areas. So you'll see increased writing in math. This is a reflection of strategy to write it. We want students to find shortcuts, look at the objectives, and reflect on their learning and basically write that down in mathematics. So again, I'm summarizing some of the slides. In science, students will make sense of phenomena and or design solutions to problems, drive student learning, engineering practices, disciplinary core ideas. And again, we want to also change STEM. STEM we know is science, technology, engineering, and math, but STEM also means students and teachers energizing minds. So our science focus, and as you can see, I like to basically leave it to 3 points. As you can see, we have our anchor phenomenon, which is basically anything that's happened in nature that's hands-on. We have our core hands-on activity, and we have our unit projects in science for this school year. And again, here's an example of what that looks like. Our model of instruction, you can see the intro, wonder, learn, share, and beyond. Our anchor phenomenon here was water evaporating from a fishbowl. And those are all the concepts for that one specific chapter. And the unit project will be decreasing water levels. So we will also have assessments, but we're talking about the fun part of learning, which is the unit project, which is hands-on. In addition, our goal is to have a STEM fair in all schools in May and June. We want to bring that back. You can clap for that one. Okay, our English, language, arts, and social studies. We have a K-8 literacy rollout where we're going to revise our maps. This was comprised of a team of administrators and teachers. We have activities and assessments and timelines. Now, what I do want to talk about is we all know about the reading wars, balanced literacy, science of reading, phonics, structured literacy. This one's better than that one. This one is whack. We don't want to use this one. All of them have strengths and all of them have weaknesses. So what we decided to do in our literacy rollout is take a piece of each, put it together, and we repackage it and refine it as our literacy package. So you can clap for that one too. Yes, this was a lot of work to do. Now again, with the reading wars, districts are left to find what program works best for them. So you're going to see the science of reading embedded into our program. You're going to see phonics. You're going to see components of balanced literacy, and you're also going to see structured literacy in our program. Again, that's just repeating the same exact thing. Our lessons, the structure of our lessons will be incorporated of a daily reading and writing workshop with structured phonics lessons added into. But I do want to say this, as we focus on this literacy rollout, the district has followed what the state has recommended as far as having a K-8 phonics-based program. We have that with foundations. We've had it last year, okay? And we also have it this year for K-3. We had a K-3 last year. We have it for K-3 this year. So we do have a phonics-based instructional program. I just want to make sure everybody understands that, because we talk about a lot of balanced literacy. We talk about these other initiatives that we have, but we are in compliance with the phonics recommendation from New York State. And when, like Dr. Smith said, when the state gives further guidance on what schools should be doing for the ELA rollout, Mount Vernon will follow suit. So some of the support that's going to be provided for teachers, we have a year-long PD series. We have monthly curriculum meetings. Each school has curriculum meetings. Our CNI team is going to take some of those meetings back and provide PD for teachers. We have grade level support. We also have PD from Scholastics and Wilson's, which is foundations. We have Atlas lessons, which we're going to add to. We have shared folders and additional, and thank you again for the 9 additional reading specialists to support this work. That will definitely help us reduce our level 1 students, because level 1s become level 2s, and level 2s become level 3s over time. So that is the goal. We also have some material and resources added this year, which is new for our ELA rollout, which is Scholastic Classroom Libraries. We also have Scholastic Literacy Pro, which is online books for our students. I believe it was 3,000 books online? 3,000 books online. We continue with our Learning A through Z, and we still have our foundations. We're going to add this year, which we didn't have last year. Yes, we had a little bit of running records. We had some teacher-created assessments, because we still want teachers to have that flexibility of giving their own types of quizzes that as they see fit. But we also want to make sure we have standard-based common assessments at the end of each unit. This is very important, because each unit has specific standards that are being assessed on the New York State assessment, and we want to make sure that we align those assessments with those standards. So there'll be 8 units, so we will have 8 common assessments, and some of those assessments, to make sure we don't over-test, we will use some of those as midterms as well. Grades 9 through 12, we have a strategic reading program with our push and pull out model. With our reading specialists, we work closely with the ELA teacher. We have novels. We have Achieve 3000 and Power Up, which are 2 reading comprehension programs, and we have a PD plan to match that as well. Our social studies, K-12, Make Learning Fun While Getting Back to Basics. It's going to be project-based. As you can see, Making Learning Fun, I don't know if you see a theme here, is using things with your hands. Project-based, learning, touching, feeling, discovering. We have that in our curriculum this year. So I'm not going to go through every single detail. And our ENL and world languages, we're going to continue with the Microsoft Translator expansion. And I believe a presentation is going to be done later on about that. We're going to continue the use of our Imagine Learning programs, our seal of bioliteracy. We also want to have cultural festivals, celebration of diversity. We want to have students traveling abroad. Mount Vernon High School, we're looking to travel to France this February. STEAM wants to travel to Spain, and the district to travel to Panama for global leadership. So again, making learning fun. We want to try to go to Panama, yeah. Okay. If anybody wants to sponsor me to go to Panama, please feel free. And the board, okay. Our CTE department, we did some great things in our CTE department. I'm not going to go through the highlights, because we all know the highlights that we had last year. But just some of our goals for this year in the CTE department, it's to increase program options to match the current industry. We want to add 1 to 3 state-approved graduation pathways, expand opportunities for students to participate in the IB, and expand school career exposure, and establish school-based enterprises with Mount Vernon High School. Gifted and talented. Pre-K and gifted and talented. We want to, the mission and vision under the leadership of Dr. Gail White Wallace is reading and writing to create change in the world. We're going to have a new portfolios, increase opportunities for student and writing, and 3 additional units of study. In pre-K, we also have our vision and mission, which is turned down for what? And I'm not going to dance and do everything like Dr. White would. She can do that in her presentation, but overall, we want to build curiosity and engage in learning through play. There's going to be social and emotional learning, increased play-based and project-based learning. And that's how we're going to make learning fun. So that's the theme that you're going to see woven throughout all the subjects as well. And our phys ed department, there's a lot of work to be done in the phys ed department. They were without leadership for quite some time. So basically, we're looking at grade level teams are going to meet regularly. They're going to align the curriculum. But to make this fun, the educators will choose 2 to 3 student-centered project-based learning assignments to complete with rubrics. So again, as you can see, that project-based learning is embedded throughout all of our subjects. And that's pretty much how we're going to make learning fun this year. Yes. They should be at the buildings. They're at the building? They're at the buildings. You're welcome.
You're up for adoption of new math resources, ready classrooms.
Good evening again, everyone. How's everybody doing today? All right. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this presentation. I'm just going to give the backstory a little bit about this presentation. We talked about this in our budget meeting that we had way back in, I believe, March, when we talked about not adopting a program for this year. So what we decided to do, because what happens is we adopt a program, we usually get it for 6 years, we pay millions of dollars for 6 years, and after year 3, we don't like it anymore, but guess what? We're stuck with it for another 3 years. And then we have replenishable books that come in consistently that we already paid for, and now it looks like you have all these extra books in the building, but it's really replenishment. So when people go in the building, they say, look at all this waste of books, the district is wasting money. We're not really wasting money, we paid for that already, but again, if you have a grade level of 4 classes, and then now you have 2, so instead of getting, guess what, 50 more books are still gonna come in for the next 6 years. And it just piles and piles and piles up. So we want to prevent that. So what we decided to do, I want you to look at this as not an adoption, just an extension into the platform that we already have for math. Everyone's aware of the iReady platform that the district has been using for the past 10 years. So we have iReady Classroom, which is a deeper dive into our iReady platform, and which I'm going to present a little bit about this evening. Again, our instructional theme, and I'm going to fly through this piece because I kind of did it in the last presentation. It's not working. Build it, draw it, and writing is our theme, and you're going to see that woven into our presentation. And it's pretty long, but I'm going to summarize a lot of the slides because a lot of them are repetitive. iReady Classroom is a comprehensive core mathematics program. Its instructional design allows students to take ownership of their learning. So again, we want students to own their learning. And you're going to see a lot of that with our student engagement activities that's in this as well. And it gives in-depth report that enables instructional decisions so teachers can help students reach their potential in the same platform. So again, we're going deeper into the iReady platform. We want to create student-centered classrooms. We want to have grade level rigor aligned to New York State learning standards, and embed product support, which is professional development for teachers. So again, what I'm presenting, you're also going to see on the resolution on the curriculum instruction tonight. Not working again. Next slide, please. Next slide, can we do it that way? Next one, I went through that already. Okay, so effective practicing for teaching young learners. Again, it goes back to what we said, build it, draw it, write it. You see it right here again. Hands-on activities, centers, and activity-based assessments. So assessments that are not just pen and paper, but activity-based as well. So our students who can perform, they'll be assessed that way as well. Next slide. What you can expect, I'm not going to go through everything with here, but if you look on the first chart, model with mathematics, this is the piece we want to emphasize. That's where you're going to see a lot of the manipulatives and the core instruction that we want to talk about in our math instruction. Next slide. The instructional framework for teaching mathematics, again, build it, draw it, write it, try it, discuss it, and connect it. It all falls under the same umbrella. Three things that we're going to do. Students want to make sense of the problem. Students solve to support their thinking. Students share and think with the partner. This is the student engagement piece that we want to increase, and I'll get to that in an upcoming slide. Next slide, please. We're going to talk about the differentiated resources. And again, this platform, teachers know how to navigate because they're familiar with already. It's just a little bit deeper, and that's where the professional development is going to come in. So again, we have the reteach, we have student-led small group, we have out-of-class support, independent reinforcement, and personalized instruction where students can practice in the classroom and outside the classroom as well. And that's an important piece. Next slide. Again, this culturally relevant learning and connections and celebrations that's embedded into the curriculum. I'm not going to go too much into that. Next two slides. Right here. Protocols for engagement. We want to increase student engagement and turn the learning back over to the students. So again, this is just a protocol to engage students in learning, and this is something that the teachers will see. Is different ways that they can get student engaged in the lesson. Because if you increase student engagement, you increase student outcomes. We want teachers to take a step back, give students the ownership of the learning, but teachers need to know how to do that. Because as a teacher, we used to going up teaching, kids respond and that's it. Now we're turning over the work to the students. Now they can build, draw, and discover. Question starters, student engagement starters, where teachers can see different strategies that they can use to get students engaged. And we're going to be looking at that in their lessons as well. Next slide. Grade level rigor and aligned to New York State standards. Next slide. Again, some of these slides are repetitive. Here is basically a unit for the year in grade 3. As you can see, there is less lessons. There's 33 lessons that teachers have to get through in a year. And these are the focus standards and the priority standards that must be tested as well. So instead of having 110 lessons to get through and they only get through 40, we have 33 lessons for the teachers to get through. And the PD is going to show the teachers how to get. Now, when I say 33, doesn't mean that we don't do the other lessons. That means that it's condensed and combined. And we want to make sure we give teachers the support in the PD so they know how to do that. Next slide, please. I'm going to go quickly through these slides. These slides, next slide as well. These slides pretty much talk about the different supports that the teachers will have. Again, we have iReady classroom mathematics instruction. Next slide. Next slide. That's what I was talking about. So here are some examples of the mathematics instruction that the students will see, and the teachers will receive plenty of support and training throughout the year. Next slide. And as you can see, this map right here shows the different types of support, when they will be getting them, and when, and who will be delivering that instruction. Now again, I mentioned before in the ELA presentation, the previous presentation, that the CNI team is going to be taking, at least on the elementary level, those meetings were usually given to the principals to have the CNI meetings for themselves. But since we have a new balanced literacy rollout, since we have a new rollout in math, we're going to take the first 5 curriculum meetings, and everyone's going to get the same PD across schools up until January for the elementary. Secondary, they always have the CNI team run those meetings. So this is a new phenomenon. We want to make sure teachers get that continued support. We don't want to introduce it tomorrow and say, okay, bye-bye, see you on PD day in October 13th or 18th, whenever the date is. They'll see them again before that, and they'll see them again before that as well. So we want to make sure we provide professional development throughout the year. Again, next slide. Next slide. These all are saying the same thing. I'm kind of summarizing. Again, there's also family letters available in each lesson in 11 languages that we have to develop as well. So we need to look more into this, because we have families that speak different languages that if they see this, they can pretty much assist their child at home as well. Again, next slide. You see the constant, click it again. Mathematical approach must be balanced. Next slide. Keep clicking, keep clicking. You'll see the same thing coming up over and over and over, because I'm reinforcing a message here. Next slide. Same exact thing. So what you just seen in here, you see the build it, you see the draw it, you see the write it. What we did not purchase from this company is the manipulatives, and we did purchase those manipulatives, and they are on their way or en route in the schools already, and that's going to be some professional development that the teachers are going to know how to use those manipulatives, because you don't want to just give it to them and say, here, go. We're going to want to show them how they can use that and how they can keep track of the manipulatives, and they're not all over the place, and the kids take them home and they throw them and we lose them. They're going to teach these teachers how to use them and how to keep them in order. So again, build it, draw it, and write it. We're not adopting a new program. We're just going deeper into the platform that we have. And then that's it.
I have a question. Can the board get a progress report at each marking period so we know how, if the rollout, if it's working,
yes,
what progress the students are making,
yes,
if they passing, failing?
That's one of the things we're looking at as well before we decide to adapt. We want to look at our data. We want to look at our common assessment data. I would prefer common assessment data. I would prefer probably our iReady data, because it will come directly from this. When we have grades, you have missing assignments, you have that other aspect, but we can look at that. We are going to monitor to see if this is something that we want to do, and if this is something that we want to adopt and moving forward. So again, we have this. It also comes with a test prep book that you're going to see, that you're going to vote on tonight. Mm-hmm. And the reason it had to come before the board is because it was, I believe, $20,000 over the procurement amount where we had to bring it before the board. If we didn't have the PD involved, we could have just ordered it ourselves, but we wanted to make sure we did follow the appropriate procedures and make sure the professional development came with the program. So that's why we brought it to you tonight, so you can see it.
Okay, great. So yes, so if you get any results, any progress results on a high level,
yes,
we appreciate it.
Thank you. And we're going to receive teacher feedback as well to
Yes.
see if they enjoyed it
Yes.
as well. Thank you.
Provide it to the board. Thank you.
Just
Thank
one
you so much.
question. Regarding, Dr. Doggett, regarding one of the reporting, will it also be robust as far as including special education students and how they're faring in that, so that they're not left behind and we know what's going on across the board?
Yes, what we're trying to do in the with the iReady platform as well is we're trying to have it break down automatically how our ENL and our special education subgroups are doing, instead of giving us a holistic number. So at the education committee, when I presented the mid-year data, that's the piece we did not have. We had to do that internally, but we're looking to work with curriculum associates to see if they can disaggregate that data for us when they run the report, so we can see it. Now, we can do it internally, but to get it automatic like this, if we're paying for it, we might as well use that service.
I love the idea, back to basic, old-time teaching. Love it, and I congratulate you for going back to basics so our kids can learn.
Yes, thank you.
So I just wanted everyone to know, for our September 19th board meeting, Dr. Cicella will present on overcoming the correction action plan, and she will discuss the status of the translator pilot. Thank you. That ends the superintendent report.
Committee reports?
So we will be getting into the committee reports. Trustee Lindsay, so you're looking right at me, so sorry.
Mr. Fagan has actually been out of town due to the fact that his brother was dying of cancer and did in fact pass away. So he's still dealing with that, so he didn't have any a security meeting around that. It was given to me, so I just wanted to present it, that someone had a member of the public had asked about the RFP that had gone out in in late spring for the security team, the assistant director and the director, and I just wanted to present, if anybody who does want to see it, that it was in the Journal News on the 14th, which is the 14th of June, which is the newspaper that we each year vote to use. So that is there for anyone to review. We do have a couple of, I'll say, delays in things that we're trying to procure for security. We have a delay right now just in getting the uniforms for the monitors. There's just an issue. You want to elaborate, or should I? Mr. Ramondi can elaborate. I was discussing with him that, and there was also just an issue coming up with the metal detectors that we were trying to procure because there's a delay in receiving those.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, that's loud. So, to address the, where should I start? We'll start with the most important item, which is the procurement of the, oh, okay. All right, so good evening. So, to begin with the X-ray machines, the company that the district has used in the past, we tried to use them again. I got their price, I didn't like it. We were able to knock it down about $20,000. That was a better price, with the 5-year warranty. We go to make the purchase. We had a sole source bid letter. Comes back that the company we've been using is not a sole source provider. So in order to do things through proper protocol and channels, I went to the New York State OGS bid to find another vendor, which is very time consuming to get them to answer the phone, call us back, because we're looking for specific types of X-ray machines that fit our need, and not every company either has them or can provide them. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through other channels, calling other school districts. If there's piggyback bids, I did make some headway today, and I'm waiting for responses by tomorrow. I gave them a deadline. And if worse comes to worse, we can do, again, an emergency resolution to procure these machines and get them in the schools ASAP. So that's top of my list on priority for security and scanning. Until then, we do have additional protocols in place. So we do have plenty of manpower to monitor entrances and student scanning. We have wands, we have proper protocols for searching items, so that it's not, we don't have a lapse in security protocols, we just don't have those two machines. So by no means are we taking it lightly. We do have other plans in place to ensure the safety of everyone in our buildings. As for the uniforms, we have a contract apparently with Cintas, who does our custodial uniforms. They also have a contract with security, and so we were going back and forth because I found another company that would give us something a little more desirable for security, and they said, well, we still have a contract with them. So I have them coming in to fit our guards the end of this week or beginning of next week, and I'm going to expedite the orders and the delivery of our uniforms, so we have all of our safety officers in brand new uniforms that represents the district well. So those are the two things on the top of my plate as far as security and in the buildings. If there's any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. So that would be a conversation once I can get an approved vendor. Right now it's very difficult to find vendors that even carry them, and the prices for purchase were incredibly high, where we wouldn't be able to purchase enough to meet the needs of the district. So once I do get someone on board who we can legally do business with, that's when we can go in to say, well, here's, I'm waiting for costs and invoices from them so I could see their numbers, and then from there I can try different avenues, like such as leasing for a certain amount of time and that sort of thing. But I still have to bring them to the table to get that. But that is the second stage of our negotiation with them. But I do plan to move very quickly because I don't want to leave us without.
Mr. Armande, on the uniforms, will the having to expedite them impact the overall cost to us?
I'm going to see that it does not. And that was, excellent. I had a security meeting that ended 15 minutes before the board meeting started tonight, and that was one of the points of discussion, where we want these uniforms. They know they provide us uniforms, we have business with them, but I don't want to pay any more to give us the goods that they're supposed to give us. So if they want us to honor the contract, well then honor the contract. We want to make the deal. What happened was we asked them to produce a contract for so long, and they finally, I said, they have until the end of the day. If I don't see a contract, I'm moving on, contract or not. Magically the contract appears. So it took us getting to that point, unfortunately, to get to this current point where we're at.
Finally, how are we with the hiring of the monitors?
So we currently have, and this is, I'm going off my memory, so if I misquote a number, but we had 17 vacancies. We had a private company come in. We currently have 12 of those vacancies filled, but we have 11 other candidates who are already in the process. I know Mr. Campbell met with 6 already, or 5 already, and he has 6 more to meet with tomorrow, correct? To get them through board, and everything on the district's behalf has been done. So now the ball's in the applicant's court, and we're calling to make sure that the HR packets are coming back in a timely fashion, and the fingerprinting clearance goes through. It does take some time. There was a snag with the county. We're supposed to hire officers who live in Mount Vernon. And that was always a difficult task because if people don't apply, there's no candidates to fill the spots. So we got a conditional waiver where we could hire in Westchester County and then New York City so we could fill our vacancies. Now, only 23 applicants applied for this position. And so far, after HR screened them and security screened them, we want to move on all 23. So in actuality, if everything goes according to plan, which hopefully it should, instead of replacing our full-time staff of the 17, we'll actually have 23 probationary appointments, which will really increase. And that's not getting to the per diem, so hopefully within the next maybe 2 weeks, once we get everything back that we need to get, we can have more guards than we initially began in the district. And what I'm also going to suggest, I don't know if he knows, is we recast the net to see if we can now acquire other applicants, that we got that waiver where we can go outside of Mount Vernon to find some safety officers for our district. So it's all in the works. Unfortunately, I would have loved it completed, but we're working very proactively to complete that so that we have a solid opening and a solid school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While we're on the topic of uniforms, what about food service uniforms, shoes, their equipment? Food services, I believe food services uniforms, they should be getting theirs too. Is that part of the same contract, or has it handled? Are they?
That I have to check with Aramark. So they're a new food service provider, and I'm not sure if that's part of if something they provide or we have to provide. But I'm glad you brought that up, and I will follow up with you on that one.
Okay.
Okay, Trustee Mitchell, do you have any reports?
I don't have a formal report, but as part of the audit committee, of course, we're always questioning to make sure we're following RFPs. You see there's resolutions on tonight for monies being dispersed, and questions are being asked to make sure that we're following process, and we're getting confirmations as to that we're doing so. Related to buildings and grounds, however, I want to ask the question, Mr. Raimondi, but I'm sorry you sat down already. Can you talk to us about the Mount Vernon High School floors? Can you say anything to it as far as status? And a while back I mentioned something about the girls' locker room at the high school. I know that I saw some progress, but I wondered if you had anything update.
Yes, sorry. I didn't want to be rude and stand while he was speaking here. So the Mount Vernon High School flooring. There was a 15-room abatement that we undertook. That's been completed successfully. And now the issue was, what do we put back in there? That will stand the test of time and the amount of traffic, and also go easy on our budgets. So we found a company that does an epoxy flooring. And it's not what you would normally think. I have some pictures and I can send to you. But the rooms, there's 7 rooms that are completed tonight, and then the remainder of the rooms will be completed in the next day, by Friday, and the whole high school will be complete, those 15 rooms. So the epoxy it's a industrial grade epoxy floor, and it has the same design as a tile, just without the grout lines. This company came in $24,000 lower than the original company that we had. So we had a bid for $79,000. We had a bid between $82,000 and $115,000, and this company came in at about $61,000 and change, which is one of our emergency resolutions. It comes with a 15-year warranty, but it has a lifespan of 20 to 25 years. And the beautiful part about this is you don't have to strip it, you don't have to wax it. So a quick dollar cost analysis over, let's say, 15-year time period, that's about $30,000 to $40,000 in stripper and wax that we saved. Then if we did vinyl tile, that has an average lifespan of approximately 5 to 7 years closer to 5 than 7 with the amount of traffic going through the high school, and that's another $80,000 to $100,000 every 5 or 7 years to replace that. And then there's also the additional cost of the overtime to strip the floors, wax the floors, put the floors in. So a quick estimate of savings over the 15 years with just 15 rooms, this doesn't count inflation, is about $290,000 we saved by going with this route. And it looks gorgeous. Now that's 15 rooms. Mount Vernon High School has 115 rooms. I think it has a little more. But if we apply that same principle, we can now, even if the floors don't need to be abated, the floors need to be repaired. And when we walked the high school, we put every room on our list, like we're sending it to Santa. And I want to grant you that wish. This is a way where we can make the proper investment that will outlast, hopefully, all of us. And I hope we all have very long, lives and that sort of thing. But what I'm saying is, it makes sense because the price is right, the durability is there, and it looks better than the tile floor. So imagine the floors you see here, brand new, just without the grout lines. It's smooth, it's flat. You can't take it up. It doesn't have to be stripped. It doesn't have to be waxed. It's just the custodians are thrilled with it because it's one less thing for them to worry about. The principal loved it, and I think this is the new way forward when we recondition our buildings. At Denzel, and I didn't forget about the girls' locker room. So, real quick, so the girls' locker room, we have an abatement going on for the turf room because there's lead in there, and so we're going to do a new PO, and we can get that taken care of, and that should take about a month. But the majority of the items being stored there, one was the new turf that will now be pulled out of there, so we put that down, and then it was also being housed for the summer cleaning. So I'm going to go over there tomorrow as part of my rounds to ensure that the girls' locker room is up and running so that our girls' teams have a locker room comparable to the boys' teams. It's only fair, and it's sitting there. Let's use it for what we need it to use it for. So that's on my list to make the rounds. As for you're talking Denzel Washington, correct? So the new ceiling has gone up. We negotiated a lower price with one of our vendors, we rented a few lifts, and again, we saved quite a bit of money. And the ceiling is beautiful. It has these ceiling tiles that are about 1.6 pounds or something like that. I think maybe a little less, 1.2 pounds. So if a ball were to strike and they come down, it's no heavier than 2 sheets of paper. So there's no risk of injury occurring. And we have an in-house lift where if we need to replace these tiles, because my concern was, well, if we knock a few tiles out, they're like, it's going to look terrible. Everyone's eye is going to be drawn, and I want our buildings to look nice. We can go up, replace the tile 1, 2, 3 with little clips, and it's done. So that has been completed. Which at Mount Vernon High School? The nurse's office. So that's next on our list. That is the phase 2 for when we come in, because there wasn't enough time to handle that situation and get school open, but that's on our list now. Now that we've found an approved vendor for air quality testing through BOCES, we found a piggyback bid through BOCES for the abatement, and now we found a viable solution to replace the floor that we pull out to put back in. That's on our next round, where we not only can do the medical center, but I'd like to do that over Christmas break or something like that, where we can do the medical center and maybe a few other rooms and get it up and running for when the kids come back in. So there's no delay of instruction or services being provided. Hey, all right. You're welcome.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Ramundi?
Yes.
Upon my visit at the high school, that they did have a whole bunch of boxes with no storage space. So where are the archives now? Because all of it's been taken between all of the schools in the district haven't sent prior years anything that were dead files to the high school. So I know the nurse had loads of boxes in front of her desk, or the secretary, might I say. So what's happening in terms of the storage space where those boxes? It was probably about 20 boxes sitting right in front of her desk.
So you're talking to one specifically in the main medical office there?
Yes.
So
it was that particular one that we just talked about.
Yeah. So those boxes, once the files are gone through and they clear out files that they don't need, they're redistributed back into the cabinets within Maine Medical. From there, also, that the high school, unfortunately, was one of our largest buildings, so it houses a lot of everyone else's items to storage. Now that that's been cleared out, then it creates a little bit of breathing room where we can redistribute those files where they're not currently active, but we still need to hold on to for another storage area within the high school. So I don't have a concrete answer for you, but that's what was my understanding on what the plan was. But again, I can figure out exactly what and where those files went to make sure that they're stored properly, but still accessible if need be.
Yeah, she just had nowhere to put them, so, because everything is so packed.
I can talk to you offline. I have another idea where we can store them within the building that won't intrude, but I don't want to make any announcements with running it by.
Can we do that in committee?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Mr. Amundi, one last question from our student trustee. This goes back to security monitors.
Yeah, it's regarding the new hires for the security monitors. I was just wondering if there was any sort of training that they would go through before being hired specifically like for the high school, training in like de-escalating situations and stuff like that. I was just wondering if there were protocols in place for that.
So, yes, absolutely. So, to be in compliance with New York State education, all of our safety monitors have an 8-hour approved training through BOCES, which they went through today, and they'll be having additional training tomorrow. Specifically to Mount Vernon High School, there was, I think, 2 resolutions ago, I put forward something with Dr. Pierce to have a Mount Vernon High School safety officer specific training on all the needs and, I guess, unique happenings at the high school that wouldn't happen at another school. And this was done through student surveys, teacher surveys, safety officer surveys, and just noticings of the administration as well to address exactly what you're talking about, specific to Mount Vernon High School. What we're also doing is I met with the director and assistant director of security, and we're going through proper scanning techniques so that we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing, but we're being very efficient and thorough with our scanning and entry and our building observations, as well as de-escalation tactics, so that we come to a situation and we try to proactively neutralize it, then react to something like that. So all of those concerns are being addressed if they haven't already. And again, I worked in Mount Vernon High School last year, and I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's something I want to just bring to the entire district. But what we do in a high school is a little different than what we do in a K-8 building, but yes. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So, Trustee Gale?
I would just like to
Oh.
say one thing about all this. They work this year very hard. They work for the summer school. They work for ESY. They work for elevators breaking down. So when you see the custodial staff complaining, they work hard this summer. And there might be bits and pieces that they have to do during the school year. But tell them, give them a pat on the back, say something nice to them.
Very well stated. They really did work hard this year. They were working nonstop around the clock, weekends, holidays, and they were working. So they really had a monumental task to pull off, and they did it. We're looking at the shortage of everything we have, so yes, that's something.
That's
Yes.
a question for HR. Yes?
But yes, he can explain more, but 100% yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very good. So, Trustee Gale?
Yes, for family and community engagement, our chairperson, Dr. Jones, hosted a Zoom last week where we met with the parent liaisons, and we're going to be, going forward, we're going to be setting up the schedule and our plans for the upcoming year. So I'll be able to keep you abreast of what's going on in the district as far as family and community engagement.
Thank you. Trustee Middleton?
We don't have to go to committee, do we? Oh, yeah.
Only if you have to discuss something in detail.
Excuse me. But anyway, I just want to say that I did get a call from a homeowner who basically had a concern about the street, Harding Parkway right by Pennington School. And her concern was to have a bump in one of the bumpers in the road, or road bumper, and some signs up because of the garbage trucks that come through, all the traffic that comes through after school. I did call Deputy Hackett at City Hall, who got on it right away, and he did he made sure some signs were were able to be installed and in the block with caution signs, etc. To put bumps down was another story because it's between the driveways, and the driveways were too close to do it. So he did get on it right away, and that was an accomplishment. And they do still have a concern about garbage trucks that really should be on the Devonia side rather than Harding for when kids sometimes get out of school. So it was an accomplishment. And also, it was great to go to Rebecca Turner. Having been a school council in the alternative program, it was great to go on August 31st where they did have a meet and greet night. And I did attend, and basically rather than 0 students or parents, there were at least 3. So Rebecca Turner is big, and we want to engage those students who need to be there and should be coming there, that it does happen, so it's not minimal, but that the building space and the building in itself is really being utilized as we said it would be, right? So that is my report tonight.
Thank you. Trustee Jenkins?
Good evening. August 21st, Trustee Middleton and Trustee Kelly and I met at the new Mount Vernon High School with Dr. Pierce for the Grow Brag initiative. Dr. Doggett was there, Dr. Jones was there, Dr. Jones from Lincoln, Dr. Hunter McGregor, and Mr. Newby. And this is an initiative to grow fruits, vegetables, teach children farm to table, to teach them seed to plant. Right now, because of the weather, we have to wait until the spring of next year, but we're working to get a grant to try and fix up the greenhouse over at the high school. We had a good time, and it was really nice, so I can't wait until everything jumps off next year.
Thank you. Trustee Saunders?
Good evening. I just want to clear up something I misspoke about at the last board meeting at homeschool regarding the IDA. I'm on the IDA committee, myself and Trustee Gale. I attended a meeting at the City of Mount Vernon City Hall, the Mayor's Conference Room, on August 12th, somewhere around that time. And I reported back to the committee that there was a pilot that someone was looking to do, and I said there were no taxes. So I just want to clarify my statement. At a prior meeting, I reported that I went to a Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency. I would like to clarify my comments to avoid any confusion. At the meeting, a developer at 115 McQuestion Development LLC submitted an application for tax exemption through a pilot program. The Mount Vernon IDA has not yet granted any pilot benefits, but the application is under consideration. The district is currently studying potential impact of the development upon the enrollment at Hamilton School because this is the area of Hamilton School. The proposed development would add 315 units of affordable housing. The building would include 32 studios, 132 one-bedroom, 136 two-bedrooms, and 13 three-bedroom units. The district is asking BOCES to conduct a demographic study to estimate the number of students the project will add to the Hamilton School and how it might impact the class sizes and space availability. The developer has requested, and the city is considering giving the developer significant exemptions from property taxes for the next 30 years. The tax exemptions granted to the developer must be made up by all other taxpayers and the district. So I just wanted to clarify that. Trustee Gale went to a meeting in August, and he brought some minutes back of, I guess, another program that's under consideration. I don't believe it's been voted on yet. And Trustee Gill and I will be going to the next IDA meeting on September 14th. So that's my report on the IDA. I have a report on HR. Mr. Campbell provided what's open, what's remaining positions that are open for the school district. So we have 28 teaching positions.
No, those are.
You might as well do it for me. Come on.
Good evening.
Hi.
So those are. So we had 94
94 total.
employees that were hired this summer. So those are those that were hired. I know there was concern about vacancies and resignations throughout the summertime. One of the things I wanted to point out that as far as for teachers are concerned, we have over 700 teachers in throughout the district. So I know that there was at one point that we had a high number of resignations, and so there was some concern to that. So one of the things that the HR team did this summer that Dr. Smith had requested was for us to have a job fair. And we had I would like to say a successful job fair, which was supported by many of the principals and cabinet members, and some of the board trustees as well came to that. We had over 300 potential candidates that came to the job fair, and from that we were able to hire, I would say half of the 94 that we hired this summer so far. We do have some more hiring that is taking place even today that happened. So we are still working to make sure that we are filling all the vacancies. I would like to, at this time, to just thank all the principals. They have, some of them had to cut their vacations short in order to make sure that they were interviewing and making sure that their buildings were filled for the start of school September 7th.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions? I have one more report.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Oh.
So I'm also working with Dr. Pierce and Mr. Brian Simmons, who's back there, and we have a meeting scheduled for an entrepreneur program at the high school. So we're looking to do something with the house that time forgot, that's in back of the high school, and we have been trying to schedule a meeting all last week, but we will have one this week, right, Mr. Simmons? And we'll give you updates on that next board meeting. Okay?
Thank you. So I have, thank you so much, all the trustees. As far as the budget report, I have committee report to give out. Just to get a head start on our the physical health of the district finances, I called a budget meeting last Friday, and I have to say it was very successful. Thank you, Mr. Silver, for all the information. We had our committee members there, Trustee Saunders, Mark Ramondi, VP Kelly, Trustee Gale. We had also our community members, Len Sever and Derek Clay there also. So as I said, we wanted to get a head start on our finances. We spoke about the taxes, all the taxes that we collected so far for the year. We collected third quarter, this is fourth quarter, we're going into about 93% of the taxes from homeowners here in Mount Vernon. That's round out to about $60 million. The district made a large investment of excess funds into a CD that yield, actually the rate was 4.72%, and it yield over the extended time came out to $137,000 in 30 days. We discussed, that's excellent, right? Yes, thank you. We discussed state aid projects for the current year and asked Mr. Silva to give us details of the breakdown of each category of the state aid. and when we receive them. We need the dates, the payout, and when everything is received, so we could understand the cash flow of the school finance, the district finance, sorry. We also receive a history of our certiorari payments. I can't believe I pronounced that word. I always have a difficult time. That dated back to 2015. So far, we paid out $3.6 million in taxes for the certioraries. Right, Mr. Silver? No?
About $865,000 this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
We paid about $3.5 million last year.
Oh, last year. Okay, not dated back to 2015. My notes is incorrect. Okay, thank you so much. All right, we all know that the school district is under the scrutiny of grants. So I spoke to Dr. Smith and the committee, and we do agree to now monitor grants in the budget committee. So now we will be getting a detail, a complex detail of our grants, what is earmarked for, how much is coming in, how much is going out, what is paid, expiration date. So we need a full detail report. We requested that from Mr. Silver, right? We want to keep abreast of all the grants so we don't lose track. And Dr. Jones, yes, Dr. Jones is our school improvement, so, and she oversees grants. So Dr. Jones, we will be also coming to you for information. All right, so we also spoke about the high expenses that's not in the budget, unexpected high expenses throughout this, over the summer, especially going through in the new school year. That was not planned. We are trying to find ways that we could cut down on our spending. We are hoping that all taxes from the city, as well as expected underspending from last year, I think we have upward anything from $5 million, I think that was not spent. 3 to 5, okay. Mr. Silver gonna give us a definite figure. 3 to 5 million that was underspent for the last budget. So that's excellent. We also spoke about our new external auditor. If you guys remember, we have a new auditor that have not started yet, but we are hoping to get them on board because we have a report that's due out to the state in November. So we're hoping to get our external auditors in the door and have them up and running. They're on, yes, the resolution is on for approval tonight. Okay. Finally, we spoke about the building conditions survey, the BCS, and the 5-year plan that must be submitted to the state by next March. There are millions that have been identified as priority 1, priority 2, repairs that must be planned in the near future. And in the preparation, we asked Mr. Silver to give us a detailed report of the $108 million bond that, if you remember, the bond was back in 2016, 2017, so we asked for a detailed report on that, how the money was spent, what it was spent on, and if any money remains. And that we would definitely make it public, right, Mr. Silva? Yes. Okay. I think that's about it as far as, I think that's about it for my report. Anyone have any question? So the 11.7 million that the district, that the city owes, so far we received 3.5 million, and we we will have a meeting with the controller in September, this month. So we will set up payment plans. I think that's what they propose. We'll see what they come to the table with, and then we would bring it back to the board and to the district. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much. That conclude all the committee reports. Thank you.
Do we have any old business? I think we covered. Okay, we're going to just go right into our resolutions. Can I have a motion for 5.1, Human Resources 89A, certified? Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. It's frozen. Okay. Can I have a motion for 5.2? Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 6.1, authorization to pay staff additional hours to inventory, catalog, and complete receiving reports? Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 6.2, authorization to hire staff for the Mount Vernon Aquatic Facility, September through December 2023?
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions?
You jumped, but it's okay.
Okay, so, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Can I have a motion for 6?
I would like to say congratulations to Tanisha Gray and her appointment. She will be the AP at Parker School.
Can I have a motion for 6.3, authorization to pay a Mount Vernon STEAM Academy teacher to attend training for a Project Lead the Way course? Questions, concerns, discussions? Dr. Doggett? Yeah, it's on the screen.
Is that the same teacher that always gets the overtime?
Yes. So Project Leaderway, I understand it's the same teacher. Keep in mind we've lost almost all our Project Leaderway teachers, and she's the only one left. She was trained for the higher classes. They don't have anyone to teach the introduction classes, so she has to be trained in order to teach Intro to Engineering. That's the teacher. The other one resigned and went to another school district. So we are training them and they're leaving us, in a sense. So this teacher has to be trained to teach the introduction course, Introduction to Biomechanical Science, which is part of what makes STEAM. So I do understand it's the same name, but we only have one person now. You will be teaching all of it. So it has to be a certified science teacher that has to be trained to teach each one of the modules. However, we train them and then they go to other districts because they become even more marketable. That's one of the things that happens with the Project Leaderway. It is specific training they receive on how to teach those courses. What I think we need to do as a district is look at a way to make it more attractive for these teachers to go to this training because they give up the time to go to the training, and for us to stay competitive so they could stay with us. This is not that's the only one left in the entire pathway. And it's Introduction to Engineering, Introduction to Biomechanical, Introduction to and also Introduction to like the whole, to be on me, I'm not a science person, but
All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 6.4, authorization to approve requisition for expenditure of funds not to exceed $255,866.15 for curriculum associates? Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 7.1, authorization to enter an agreement with Friendship for Tots, Mount Vernon, to provide pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 programs for the 2023-2024 school year? Questions, concerns, discussions?
So, really quick, I know that there's, for us as an attachment that has I believe it was supposed to be the RFP information. The template is blank.
You have to slide across. At the bottom.
Okay.
At the bottom of it.
No, not the contract. The RFP itself. It was empty, right? It has zeros all over the
Look at the bottom, and there's different tabs. You slide across. Where's that one? Yeah. She's right here. She's waiting.
Yeah, Dr. White Wallace, can you explain just briefly the RFP process for
Absolutely,
this?
that's what I'm here for. Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Dr. Smith, Board President Ms. Kerwin, Vice President Kelly, and members of the board, colleagues. I see that there are some questions regarding 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3. So we're going to discuss this. First of all, the Universal Pre-K is a grant that we receive annually to fund a specific allotted amount of students in our district. Those students are to be in both in-district classrooms, and we have a requirement to partner with community-based organizations. In addition to that requirement, we must also partner with minority-owned and businesses to provide service. Last year, I've been doing pre-K for about 5 years. I've put out about 5 RFPs in the last 10 years. Last year, an RFP was published in October of 2022. It was published in our BidNet. It was supervised by Hillary Thompson and the business office, as it should be. It was also published in the public newspaper. In addition, I probably shouldn't have, I have a list of every single daycare, school, through the Office of Child and Family Services, and I alerted all of them that the bid was public. We received bids. One was late, so it could not be considered. Another bid was incomplete. Another bid was carefully scrutinized. However, their application did not meet the criteria of those who scored the bid. The bid was opened by Mr. Silver, Ms. Hillary, and one other member of the business office, and stamped. At that time, the business office then convened a committee which blind scored in separate rooms each of the applications. The spreadsheet that you have in front of you shows each person and their score of each application. We then arrived at those who will provide service to our students. We do have copies of the RFPs. We also have copies of the published bids, if you would like to review. Now that we have the bid and we have awardees, we are moving forward with providing students in pre-K 4 and pre-K 3 with the opportunity to engage in foundational learning. This year, Dr. Smith committed to increase the number of pre-K 3 students. We all know that there are many schools of thought that I should have my own building. We did toss that around a few years ago with the 2020 vision. Yes, there may be some people who calculate that we have space. But to educate everyone in the community, let's please understand that pre-K is like no other grade level. Pre-kindergarten students must have 50 square feet per student. They must have appropriate bathrooms. They must have appropriate furniture. They must also have places of egress. Every single person, classroom, school building, and CBO that currently serves our students has been approved by the Office of Child and Family Services. I am the supervisor of all 19 service providers in this city. I visit every school 3 to 4 times a month. I collect all data. I monitor all budgets. Patsy DeLeo and I submit an FS10 by September 30th of every academic year to ensure all funds have been procured. In the state of New York, this program is top-notch. We have received $1 million to expand our program. In Ms. James' office are the 10 binders from this academic year. Every single CBO, every private school, Our Lady of Victory, West Cobb, Mount Vernon Daycare, and West Help must provide monthly binders to Dr. White Wallace, where I then scrutinize their budgets. I see how they spend their money after they have invoiced me. I check every single attendance. It is due to me at the 10th of every single month. I make sure the students are in the seats, and if they are not, we are going to find them. I read lesson plans, I check lesson plans, I ensure that every student receives a newsletter. I email parents, I visit their schools, and attend all of their events. Now, if there's a question about procurement, please understand that you and I have worked for over 2 decades, and I am a stickler. I have been audited every other year and have come out with a perfect rating. Every penny is accounted for, and please guarantee I have spent it all on children. So these 3 contracts that are in front of you are to further our work for our students. We are here to support vertically and horizontally, and these schools will also have foundations this year. They will be trained tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will also ensure that all of these schools implement the social and emotional curriculum, and we have been lauded in this state for being one of the only districts that's able to have a seamless program for students who are in traditional schools and those that are in CBOs. Feel free to ask me any questions. I am ready to answer them. Yes.
So if the bids were awarded last year, why are we voting on them again?
So we have brought to the board's attention a few times about doing multi-year contracts. The board has asked that for monitoring purposes, that we do them annually, which means after I collect data, because you guys know I send you all my data, academic data, attendance data. We want to make sure that our CBOs are maintaining and meeting the bar. We don't want to give 2- and 3-year contracts to say, okay, we're giving you this money. We want to make sure that they've done what they've needed to do. If you look in there, there's a clause that if they do not submit paperwork to me, I have the right to terminate their contract without question. Therefore, we have chosen to do an annual contract process. Now, if you would like to move to a multi-year, you may do so. We will be going out to bid for pre-K 4 this spring because we are coming up on year 5. Please do know that there are many applicants, but the requirements are high. A school must be able to have certified teachers, and that is difficult. Also, the building requirements are difficult. So we thank Friendship for Tots, Our Lady of Victory, and the 4 sites under Westcop for making the necessary changes they've needed to meet these requirements as the state continues to bring them forth.
So for 7.1, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 7.2, authorization to enter an agreement with Our Lady of Victory to provide pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 programs for the 2023-2024 school year. Oh, I think I had Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 7.3, authorization to enter an agreement with Westchester Community Opportunity Program, Inc. to provide pre-K 3, pre-K 4 programs for the 2023-2024 school year. Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 8.1? Approval of Student Services Pupil Personnel Services Memorandum Number 3 dated September 5th. Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 9.1, authorization for floor covering treatment at Mount Vernon High School?
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions?
Notice that it mentions in our resolution is approximately 24,000 over the price for the emergency vendor because it was emergency. We obtained them in an emergency situation.
This is the one you were just talking about.
Oh, is it under? Is it?
Yes, it should be under.
So it says on the it says in the reservoir, it says over, approximately 24,000
no.
over. That's the reason I was questioning. Because I remember what you just said. We saved, and this says, you know. So is that just miswording?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, just changing. No, no. No. That's it.
Right, he just saying it would be.
Okay, so if we were to use the contractor, it would have cost us over 24,000 on the bid we ended up going with. So I believe it is. It's correct. Correct. Yes. No problem.
All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 10.1, authorization to extend renewed general construction contract bid number 21-22-14 for the Mount Vernon City School District for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Questions, concerns, discussions? Although,
No, I just want to know what is Vernon doing and why do we had a bid with them before, what are they doing there? Can you explain, Mr. Silver?
This is the third and final year of this current bid. What do they do for us? They do, and this is at the same price. There's been no increase in the price since the original bid. They manage all of the flooding repairs. They did main medical at the high school. They do. They did the basement area at the high school when there was the flood. They cleaned out all of the records that were damaged and destroyed. They do in general all of the contractor work throughout the school district under two bids. One is this bid, and another bid is a piggyback bid off of the Bayshore schools, where they're allowed to do different types of work than they are under this bid. We're extending it for its final year, and then we have to go out to bid in the spring. Yes, we do.
Did they also do Lincoln?
They did the cafeteria at Lincoln, if that's what you mean. They also did the facade brickwork at Lincoln. That's correct. We have to go out to bid again next year.
Next year.
Because the contract, we are trying to extend it each year based on their performance, similar to what Dr. White Wallace said. So we look at what they did, their needs for us for the current year, and we could go out to bid if we wish to for a new bid, but we are recommending it, just extending it for its final year.
any more?
Question. So that means that based on their track record, we're omitting going out to bid again for possibly better service, better pricing? Is that what, are we going by historical performance? Is that why we're making?
We are going by historical performance. The lack of competitive bids that have taken place through the years, having to do with this type of work. Their work is excellent. They're always there when we need them, and this is just the final year. So if you take a look at the Lincoln cafeteria, you see the quality of the work that they've done. They also did the floor, the gym floor at Lincoln. Their sister company did that.
Any more questions, concerns? Okay. All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 10.1, authorization to extend appointment of Lisa Garland, SFSP food service worker /site monitor from August 16, 2023 to August 31st, 2023. Questions, concerns, discussions?
Can you explain why we're paying her 2 weeks?
So this was We're supposed to have 2 site monitors to manage all of the sites that we have during the summer. You see that it says 45 sites during the summer. This is all of the schools. There's other organizations that were providing school food service, and we only had 1 person, and she did work those days. This is just to approve her being paid for the last half of August for doing her supervisory work.
All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 10.3, authorization to accept a donation from Christ Church Bronxville to Denzel Washington School of the Arts? I'm sorry, who's second? It was 2 of you, okay. Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. We have a motion for 11.1, approval of an agreement between the Mount Vernon City School District and EFPR Group for external auditing services. Okay, questions, concerns, discussions?
Sure, just to make sure, in the past, we've had auditors outside who did not cover all aspects. This company is going to cover all aspects, including grants. We've had that discussion. I just want to answer that question now on the microphone. It is going to cover grants. They will cover it. Okay. And then they came back and approved. Okay, good. All right, so that's even higher level on top of what the finance committee is going to do on top of, right? Beautiful. Thank you.
All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Have a motion for 11.2, authorization to approve Lisa Thorpe Furley as Deputy Commissioner of Human Resources.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Have a motion for 11.3, authorization to approve Jessica Graves as Commissioner of Human Resources. Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We have a motion for 11.4, authorization to approve contract for Royce Russell as in-house counsel. Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We have a motion for 11.3, settlement agreement between the Mount Vernon City School District and employee number 4458. 11.5. Oh, sorry. So 11.5, settlement agreement between the Mount Vernon City School District and employee number 4458. Can I have a motion? Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Have a motion for 11.6, approval of a contract for Sandra Mike as internal claims auditor effective July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Have a motion for 11.7, approval of a contract with Alan Gonzalez as acting assistant principal. Questions, concerns, discussions? All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 12.1, authorization to make an amendment to the minutes of the May 4th, 2022 regular meeting?
Abstain. You have to abstain. Yes, you have to abstain.
All those in favor? Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Have a motion for 13.1, enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation, the financial history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation, and to receive legal advice on a pending matter. Have a motion?
Motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries.
We're not coming back. I want to thank everyone for coming out to our meeting tonight. We will be going into executive session. We will not be returning. Have a good night. Thank you so much.